Okay, hey everybody, this is Brian. Welcome to ChillerNight Live, where from 8 p.m. until, that's Eastern Time, until 9 o'clock. We'll be talking about all things horror, science fiction, the paranormal. Now, tonight's topic from last week, it was chosen that we will be talking about atomic war movies or nuclear annihilation. So fun topic. So Stephanie says, hey y'all, hey Stephanie, thanks for joining us. Al says, hi everyone, it's Chiller Night. Hello Al, thanks for joining us. PBR is here with the wave. Hey PBR, thanks for joining us. Love the t-shirt. Oh, thank you. That is I like my superhero t-shirts, my monster t-shirts, my Star Wars t-shirts. I always like to exhibit a little bit of geekness here every Tuesday night. So Bonin says, hey, hello Chiller Night crew and Bryan Hogue. Great to see you again. Thank you, Bonehead. Thank you for joining us. Yes, tonight we'll be talking about atomic war movies. I believe that was the topic from last week. I'm trying to remember. I'm pretty sure that's what because we were talking about some of the old, last week's topic, we were talking about the old, the golden age of sci-fi movies. And, that kind of springboarded into the atomic age movies of like the 50s and 60s of sci-fi, and then it was mentioned at the very end of the show to do one on atomic war. So SBC says hello everyone. Hey SBC, thanks for joining us. Al says hi Bonehead, and D says cool evening everyone, popping in and out during work tonight. Ah, okay, well thank you for joining us. Even if it's popping in and popping out, we appreciate that nonetheless. Absolutely. So I hope you're having a good evening, everyone. And I know some of you do that. Now I appreciate that. That's pretty cool that you may be at work or doing something else, but you're still here with us in and out. So that's very cool. All right. The reason that we started all of this, Chiller Night Theater. Chiller Night Theater is on Stream TV. You can see the website streammedia.tv. You can go there every Saturday night at 9 p.m. Eastern Time to watch Chiller Night Theater. Now, that's hosted by the one and only Jack Shadow, and occasionally by myself. So, Stream TV has been playing episodes back to back for quite a while now. I mean, back to back. Remember when we used to do it? There was these big gaps of time. None of that. No more. So they are back to back. So that's pretty cool. BBR says, here is the old show that I doubt people know, The Ark, about a group of scientists that roam the Earth in a really cool vehicle called the Ark, and they try to study the Earth after the bomb. I don't remember that. PBR, but I do remember a show on Saturday morning, a live action show called, I thought it was called Ark 2. And that, for some reason, I think even Sig Haig, from Spider Baby and House of a Thousand Corpses. I almost think that he was the villain on that, if I'm remembering that right. Or is that Jason and the Argonauts? Or what? I'm getting my Saturday morning shows mixed up. Or am I? I don't know. I'd have to look up Sid Haig's filmology or filmography or whatever, and see if what his credits include, but I thought he was on like a Saturday morning. Nonetheless, even if he wasn't the villain, there was a show called Arc 2, I believe. But that's pretty cool. Brian says, hello all. Hey, Brian, thanks for joining us. John says, somewhere in an alternate universe, the summer temperatures are perfect. But unfortunately, we're not in that universe. But we do have each other, and it's time again for Chiller Night Live. This is Crow's Acta Grand. And now here's our host who's going to be the same in any universe. Here's Bryan Hogue. Oh, thank you, Crow's Acta Grand. And John's giving a little wavy there. Would I be the same in any universe? I almost think of that Star Trek episode, Mirror, Mirror. Now that was pretty cool. That was pretty neat. You know, where the heroes had their villain counterparts in the other, like, alternative universe. And then, I was just thinking about this today, as I scroll through Facebook, and I used to be a big comic geek. I still kind of check out what's going on from time to time. I don't buy them anymore, but I used to be a very avid collector growing up, when I was very young. And now I can't keep track of any storyline. I mean, everything is just a different universe. Superman kills Wonder Woman. Well, it's a different universe. Batman, he slaughters the Joker and the Penguin, but it's a different universe. No continuity. Nothing matters anymore. It's like kids playing with their action figures, and making up a story. Nothing really matters. So, I don't know. I'm about done with all that multiverse stuff. Stephanie says, "'Tis Thursday, I'm watching horror." Oh, this Thursday, I'm watching Horror Express after my online book club. Ah, have you seen it before, Stephanie? It's a good one. I think you'll like it. I think you will. Al says, Jason of Star Command was the show you're thinking of with Sid Haig. Oh, okay. Jason of Star Command. Gotcha. Yeah, that's it. Tracy says, hi, Brian. Flash Gordon. Oh, remember Flash Gordon? Oh, that kind of resembles the Flash Gordon. This is the Flash. But yeah, Flash Gordon. Yeah, he did it. Didn't he have a lightning bolt? PPR says Star Command was most awesome. That was it. Jason of Star Command. Stephanie says, oh yeah, it's really good. What in the world? Wasn't there an Arc 2 show? I gotta look that up. Okay, Jason of Star Command was the one with Sid Haig. I appreciate that, Al. I'm going to look this up. Arc 2 TV show. Okay. From 1976. It was one season. After the world is ravaged by pollution. By pollution? Okay. 3 scientists travel around helping people in need. That's the show. That's the show. Anybody we know from the cast? Jean Marie Hahn. Terry Lester. He looks familiar. Helen Hunt. Okay, we know Helen Hunt. And Lou Shamer. That guy looks familiar, but I can't think of who that is. Okay. I wonder if it was polluted from being a kid's show, though. I don't know that they would actually have said, like a nuclear fallout type of thing. Let's see. That aired on CBS from September 11th to December 18th, 1976. This says 76. And then the reruns returning in 1978. Okay. Arc 2. All right, so there we go. I won't spend all day on my phone, but I was kind of curious about that. John says, interesting. What would you like to have for your Mirrorverse? Mustache, goatee, mutton chops, etc. The list is endless. I would like to have I would like to have, let's see, maybe, uh, maybe one of these old villains on the old the cartoons, or the guys with the tall black hats and yeah, I'm gonna tie up the dance stool on the train tracks. Maybe I'll try that. That'll be a different look for me. I don't know. Get a villainous image here. SBC, from your comment, I conclude that the weather in the USA is just as bad as here in the old Germany. Yeah, it's a little toasty. Um, so Tracy said, had to use special toy for it. What? I had to see. All right, I missed something there, but John says, fun fact, the vehicle from Arc 2 is also the same vehicle from Damnation Alley. Oh, is that right? Okay. Well, I'm glad they got some use out of it, some good use out of it. Tracy says, flashing cubes, video game. Arc 2 talking chip, Adam. Not sure what that is. PBR says, so is pollution, not atomic war. Yeah. But that was mentioned earlier by PBR about the Ark, a group of scientists that roam the Earth in a really cool vehicle called the Ark, and they try to study the Earth after the bomb. So maybe this was like a kid's version of it, where they don't want to say a nuclear fallout on TV. That's what I'm guessing. Stephanie says, I remember the show called Fallout is based on a video game. Oh, really? I don't know of the show Fallout, huh? Or the video game for that matter, I guess. So, all right. So they do that a lot, don't they? They make movies and stuff based on video games. They're really popular. Tracy says, Star Command, special toys to play. Oh, okay, yeah. Jason says, Ghoul evening, my fellow ghouls, and to our supreme ghoulish leader. Ghoul evening, Jason. Thanks for joining us. SBC says, Damnation Alley was nuclear war. Cool. Not nuclear war is cool, but I'm sure the movie was. I don't remember that, but it sounds familiar. It's a title that sounds familiar. I'm trying to think of any. Jason says, Damnation Alley with Jan Michael Vincent, George Papard, and Paul Winfield was great. The mutant cockroaches scared the crap out of me. Oh, Damnation Alley. Is that a movie? Was that a movie or a series? I take it that was a movie. Maybe not. I sit here on Tuesday night and we go over these things, and I always think like, I wish I could watch this stuff. I don't have as much time anymore to watch to commit to a movie, but some of these sound pretty cool. Tracy says, Space Academy, Gampo, Dr. Smith from Lost in Space. Yes. Brian Evers, Failsafe, or Dr. Strangelove. That is in the. Now I took, and again, you all know that I don't have much prep time for these, if any, just because this time of the year I'm really I'm busy. So, but for tonight's show, being the topic was atomic war, I forget who suggested that last week, but that was suggested at the end of the show, and so I have a 10 list. Now this is saying the best 10 nuclear war movies on Collider.com. This is not my list. This is not my selection, but we'll go down. And I didn't really have time to review these, so we'll see. We'll see what we have here. They're number 10. Again, Collider.com. And tell me what you think, and of course share yours as well. By Dawn's Early Light is the name of the movie, directed by Jack Shoulder, in 1990. Now, this was an HBO original movie. It's kind of outdated, it says, okay? Huh. I have not seen this. I have not heard of this. Number 9, and let me know if you remember that movie, if you liked it, if it stood out to you. Let me know if you care to. Number 9 is Testament from 1983. Takes place in San Francisco Bay Area, where an average suburban family is casually going about their day. However, things take a turn for the worse when a third world war breaks out. So, something didn't go right there on that particular day for this family who happened to live in San Francisco back in 1983. So, we wish them the best. Now here's one I remember. The Day After, 1983, and also another one in 1983. The Day After. I remember this. It was a TV movie produced by ABC about a rural town in the Midwest that is selected as one of the targets for an escalating nuclear conflict due to its close proximity to one of America's missile silos. I do remember this. And if I remember right, was it split up? Maybe I don't remember that much of it. But I remember sitting here watching that thing and just being kind of like, it was kind of disturbing, when you're a kid watching that, the thought of nuclear. It's one thing and we talk about, obviously we talk about monsters and sci-fi stuff, but when you get into real threats, that's a different, that stuff can keep you up at night. Or it used to, but I mean, or it can. It could now. But Daniel says, "Sup, Bryan Hogue? Hey, Daniel, thanks for joining us." Oh, but that's Brian's thing about Doctor Strange. I'm sure that's on the list. I was going through several lists, and that seemed to be on everybody's list. So, obviously, for good reason. Jason says, Failsafe is a great movie, but George C. Scott kicked butt in every scene he was in. Failsafe. See, I don't think I've seen that one. On the Beach, Brian says. That sounds familiar. Yeah. On the Beach. Wasn't that the Australian... They did a remake of that as well, and I only know that because I haven't seen the movie, but I was going through a list. Maybe it's on this one, but it's all listed on there twice. So I was like, why would they do that? But yeah, Mad Max After Atomic War. Yeah. PBR says. Raymond says, Brian Bonehead SBC. Hey Raymond, thanks for joining us. PBR says, Terminator. Sorry, a little burned out tonight, I guess. Terminator was after an atomic war also. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if it was atomic war or if it was... Yeah, it was, because he said that in part 2, the AI took over and detonated all the missiles. And then the Terminators were constructed by the AI and took over the world. Jason says, Threads, The Last War, On the Beach. Threads is a British miniseries. The Last War is a Japanese view of the big one. And On the Beach is a classic starring Gregory Peck and Ava Gardner. Interesting. SBC says, those were good times in the 90s when a nuclear war seemed unlikely. But not in the 80s. They seem like, yeah, it could happen. Stephanie says, I've seen Mad Max. Oh yeah, did you like it? The post-apocalyptic movie, famous one, Mad Max. Jason says, Ted Koppel had a fantastic show following the airing of The Day After with a large panel of experts and scientists. It's on YouTube. Oh yeah? Yeah, I remember that. Planet of the Apes, Al says. Yeah, well, yeah. Beneath the Planet of the Apes, they had the Doomsday Bomb, and that was detonated and destroyed the Earth at the end of the movie. Spoiler! Uh, Beneath the Planet of the Apes. I always felt bad about that. I was like, oh no, they blew up the planet. Um, 2 movies in. That's why they can't have nice things. PPR says George C. Scott, hands down, my most favorite actor, hands down. Yes, good actor. Jason says Failsafe had a young Larry Hagman, Henry Fonda, and Walter Matthau. Very much different than Doctor Strangelove, but both from the exact same source novel. Oh, is that right? That's pretty interesting. Squigums60. Hey, Squigums, how you doing? You maniacs, you blew it up. Yes, at the end of Planet of the Apes, the great ending. It's funny. I was watching that one time back in the '90s. I got the 5-set VHS collection, and of course, I had seen it before numerous times, but in watching that, it really struck me how Rod Serling like, the ending was, the irony twist. Although you kind of yeah, you hadn't really figured it out by now. It was Earth, and then I had seen where Rod Serling was one of the writers for the movie, so obviously he didn't write the movie, but it just stands to reason. It had that feel to it, SBC says, I've heard of some of the rumors that the leaders of this world are planning a remake of The Day After. Not, LOL. No, we don't want that. Brian says, in Failsafe, the U.S. became, because of a technical glitch, accidentally bombs Moscow. So to prevent World War III, the president orders a bombing of Manhattan without warning the people there. Ah, okay. Trying to do the old cup and balls, cover it up. Maybe if we blow up Manhattan. Wow. Hey, we good? SBC says Godzilla movies somehow fit in, not with war, but with nuclear tests. Yeah. Yes. Very true. Jason says The Road, both movie and novel, was good. How life is after Fallout. Ah, okay, that's one I'm unfamiliar with. PBR says, wasn't there a crazy British show about atomic war and people made fallout shelters in their homes and couldn't go outside? I am not familiar with that at all. Very well could be. Let's see. Now, while we're throwing some more out there, and some of these might be on the list that you guys have thrown out already. Number 7, again, from Collider.com, going down their list of 10. Number 7, When the Wind Blows, 1986. It's an animated war movie about an aging British couple living in an English countryside. They listen to the news on the radio every day and begin to hear news about impending nuclear war. They make preparations for the conflict, but to tell the truth, nothing could have prepared them for the blast that nearly flattens their home. In a time when they are the most vulnerable and need assistance more than ever, nobody else is left alive to give it to them. Well, that just sounds cheery, doesn't it, though? Who picked this theme for tonight? Number 6, War Games, another one, the third on this list, from 1983. So, War Games. War Games stars a young Matthew Broderick as David, a mischievous teenage hacker who's poking around one day and blocks a code that he should be poking around with. Blah, 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 finds the door, military computer. All right, so he's up to no good. Those, his shenanigans. I don't know. Apparently, the movie is centered around this rascal prankster and his computer hijinks. Number 5, Failsafe. Okay, that I saw has been mentioned several times. 1964. Failsafe. Based on a novel of the same name, as Jason and some of you have said. Okay, okay. The War Game, 1966. Now, this is a BBC original pseudo-documentary about the Cold War breaking out into a full-blown nuclear warfare. Okay. I wonder if maybe that was one of the, what was it, PBR? Let me go to the comments here, get caught up a little bit. Oh, missing quite a bit. Wasn't there? Okay. The British show, maybe that was it, maybe not, I don't know. Raymond says, on the beach, about an American submarine returning home to a deadly country. Sailors go off at various spots to go home and die. The folk song Morning Dew by Bonnie Dobson was about the movie. Huh. I have not seen that one. A nuclear war, Raymond says. I have not seen that one. Stephanie says, my mom got The Road in form of a book and movie. Oh, okay. Jason says, PBR, I think that's Threads. Oh, the series he's talking about where the nuclear war happened, and I thought it was interesting when I was in the Air Force in disaster preparedness. We had, you have the exercises, and during the exercises, they simulate things like that where you have the nuclear fallout. But I found it's interesting because there's so, and I'm trying to remember a lot of it, but there's just all the plotting and everything that's going on. You have a big map of the area. You have to see what kind of megaton. There's ways of figuring that stuff out. Which way the wind's blowing, and there's so much to it. That's plotting to anticipate which way the nuclear fallout's going to be gone, how soon it will be hitting certain areas, and just what a mess. What a mess. Brad says, I see that Coca-Cola is going to have an option on the aisle for cane sugar instead of high fructose corn syrup. Now that's awesome. Well, that is awesome. That is cool. Get rid of that stuff, that high fructose corn syrup. It's no good. Thanks for joining us, Brad. Brad. But not okay. I was wondering where the follow-up was. I'll jump ahead here. That's awesome, but not as awesome as the 1931 horror films Dracula and Frankenstein, coming to the public domain in January of 2027. Thank you, Brad. Yes. PBR says yes. That's Threads, I do believe. Okay, does that sound familiar to you? Threads. All right. Brad says, oh, I read Brad's already. War Games is a classic, SBC says. All right. Was that the one that we were just... Oh. All right. Jason says, Panic in the Year Zero with Ray Milland and Frankie Avalon was a good late 50s black and white movie about nuclear war happening and how word spreads about it and how we would handle it. Jason says, In the Year 2889 is a hilarious, very cheesy, campy B movie about post-nuclear war and fallout for radiated mutants. It might be in the public domain. Oh yeah, maybe it'll have to make its way to ChillerNight Theater one of these nights. Maybe. Speaking of ChillerNight Theater, now listen here. You know me. I am working very hard to I'm trying to balance my regular job, my home, and my home life, building the haunted house. Hopefully this is the last summer where it is all consuming. And I mean all consuming. I've been at this since April with this edition, and questioning whether, of course, I'm going to get it done, but you question, like, am I? But yes, I thankfully I always manage, but and but I'm saying all that to give you this. ChillerNight Theater. I'm working on trying to bring new episodes your way. So those will hit this fall. I wanted to start them the first Saturday in September, but I don't know. It might be the second Saturday. I'm not sure yet, but I will say this. They'll run in September, October, and probably that first Saturday in November. So we'll get a kind of a limited run of all new episodes. So give you something to look forward to. Stephanie says, when Chiller was a channel, I saw the movie called Aftermath. It's about nuclear blast survivors taking shelter underneath of a Texas farmhouse. Ah, I remember that Chiller channel. Oh, and speaking of the haunted house, Jack Shadow's House of Terror, I will take this moment to mention Stream TV as a sponsor. You can see it behind Superman. I put Superman up here tonight instead of Boba Fett because Superman, it seems to be the more relevant of the two fictitious characters because of the newly released Superman movie. So tonight we see Superman. And also we had Stream TV. Watch Stream TV every Saturday night. And beside them, over here, For Your Car Connection, out in Cranberry and Seneca, the Cranberry Seneca area, right across the street from the Cranberry Mall. So I want to thank them. And Raymond says, did you get under a desk? No, but I'll tell you what, I jumped under a truck one time on the out in the we were out doing something and a jet went right over us and it was like, holy cow, that was so loud. So, I found myself underneath a huge truck in a matter of probably a microsecond. Brad says, U.S. President Donald Trump's take on cane sugar in Coca-Cola. It's just better. Yeah, I don't know. I can't imagine it's good for you. But it's got to be better than, it has to be better than the high fructose corn syrup. That stuff is just nasty. It's horrible for you. PBR says, was an air traffic controller in the Navy. Was an air traffic controller in the Navy myself. I didn't know you were in the Air Force. Don't worry, I won't hold it against you. It's okay. Not everyone can get into the Navy. Yeah. PBR. Yeah, that's funny. Well, that's very cool. Very cool. Old Navy guy, huh? I just found out the mall has a, we have a new maintenance guy out there, a really cool guy. He was retired Navy, and I was just talking to him the other day, and he was telling me some stories, so, very cool. And that reminds me, if I wonder if we'll see Brett on here tonight. Usually stops in and says hi. SBC says, if it ever comes to the worst case, I have planned an escape route to get to a safer country. Okay. Well, the best of luck to you on your planned escape in search of a safer country. Brad says, that should be a slogan for the cane sugar on Coke. It's just better. Yeah, sometimes those I don't know, those statements are just, They are. It's not a bad slogan. Like just do it. You know, people remember that. It's easy to remember. Um, yeah, I don't know. If Coke did do that, I'm sure Trump would want a percentage of royalty or something. Uh, I don't blame him. Oh, hey, I wanted to mention about Jack Shadow's House of Terror. Scare actors and staff. Not I don't just need only actors, but I am looking for new staff members. We'll be needing 6 to 7 new scare actors or staff. I guess I need to add staff because there's a few positions there that are not actors for this year's Jack Shadow's House of Terror. So if you're in this area, if you're in the Venango County, um, Pennsylvania area, and you want to apply, you can go to ChillerNight.com, and you can click on where it says Haunted House on the menu page and fill out the online application. Then hit submit, and it'll go directly to me. So, and by the way, that's to anybody. If anybody is wondering, like, how can I get in touch with Bryan? How? I don't. But if you do, I mean, just go to if you're not on Messenger or you just can't remember my email address or whatever, you can always go to ChillerNight.com. That goes directly. That goes only to me. So I'm the guy reading it. So there you go. Brad says, as a matter of fact, it's coming out next month on store shelves. What, the Coke with sugar? Now let me ask you this. Did they do that because of RFK's directive or something? Is that being done because of that? Did he, I don't know. I haven't been keeping up. Folks, I get up, my day starts at 4:45 and it ends late at night. And I am not keeping up with things. So is that something that, was, I don't know, what's the word for, I'm burned out, so it's hard for me to, yeah. Is that something that, like a directive or something? Gosh, I'm drawing a blank. Help me, people, help me. Let's see. I don't think any version of cola is really healthy, SBC says. No, they're not health drinks whatsoever. You are correct. but, is one a little less toxic than the other? I guess that's it. Which one is not as bad for you? Is that the standard? Maybe. I guess so. Jason says, Swan Song by Robert R. McCammon is a great nuclear war and post-war epic novel. A lot like King's The Stand. Oh, okay. But nuclear war rather than a virus. Interesting. Victor. Hello, Bryan. It's been a long time. Hey, Victor. Thanks for joining us. Tonight we are, good to see you on here. Tonight we are talking about atomic war movies because the overall mood and atmosphere lately has been a little too cheerful. So, we're going to take care of that tonight. So, atomic war. Whew. Who the heck thought of this last week? SBC, hell comes to Frogtown. Oh, that reminds me. We have a list here we did. Okay, let me see what we have. The Atomic Cafe, 1982, is Collider.com's the top 10 on their list. Atomic war movies or nuclear fallout, whatever. The Atomic Cafe is probably one of the most cruelly ironic documentaries ever produced. Okay, I'm going to read this entire synopsis because it got me with that first sentence. Much of it is an accumulation of PSAs Okay, speeches, advertisements, or other bits of footage from the 40s and 50s assuring the American public that a newly invented atomic bomb was nothing to be concerned about. Oh, how wrong they were. Oh, really? How wrong were they? The documentary then delves into the sense of heightened paranoia and fear surrounding the early days of the Cold War. Okay. Okay. Well, number 2. Here it is. Dr. Strangelove, or How I Learned to Stop Worrying and Love the Bomb. 1964, of course, directed by Stanley Kubrick. Dark comedy flick by one of the most famous film directors of all time, Stanley Kubrick. In this grim but slightly goofy movie, an unhinged United States general makes the rash decision to declare nuclear war on the Soviet Union. All right, and there's more, but I don't want to spoil it for you. No spoilers from a movie from 1964. But that of course is on all the lists. Now here's one that's been brought up by several of you so far. Threads, 1984. Now Threads is a TV movie produced by BBC that is nothing short of scarring. Even with a relatively meager budget, the movie is one of the most frightening and traumatizing the world has ever known. It occurs in Sheffield, England, following a conflict in Iran between NATO and the Soviet Union. Okay, blah, 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 blah. All right, you get the gist. But that's Collider.com's number 1 movie on their list. Let's see. Brad says, no, it's because of Trump's comment on his Truth social media company. Oh, it wasn't like something directed by, like, what is it, RFK, the director of health and all that. Okay. I don't know. I'm not against it. I'm not against the idea. Brad says at least cane sugar is more natural than high fructose corn syrup. Yeah, I mean, I don't think a lot of sugar. I personally avoid a lot of it. You know, I don't have much of a sweet tooth. I don't eat much of it, and I don't recommend eating much of it because it's not good for you. It's not one of those health foods, but it's between that and high fructose corn syrup, I'll take the sugar. Jason says, "Alas, Babylon was a good movie or a good novel about nuclear war, somewhat similar to On the Beach." Ah. Stephanie says, "I remember Stephen King's The Stand on Sci-Fi." Was that the original? Didn't they do a remake of The Stand within the last few years? Am I thinking of that correctly? I remember the Stand that came out, I'm guessing back in the early 90s, mid 90s. And I don't know. I don't know if that's true. I could be way off. I could be a decade off. I don't know. But I remember the first one. But I think that they did a remake of that, a series. SBC says Radioactive Dreams, 1985. Was that a movie or a series? Jason says Countdown to Looking Glass with Scott Glenn is free on YouTube and about events leading up to nuclear war. Ah, well that's cool. There's one on YouTube there if you guys want to watch it. PBR says The Stand was a great show and even better book. John says A Boy and His Dog starring Don Johnson. Yeah, that's right. What a weird movie. Yeah. The Stand, Brian says The Stand happened because of a flu. Oh, because of a flu. Oh yeah, that's right. That's right. It was a. I'm trying to remember what caused all that. Was it a flu, huh? I don't recall. Um, but it was a end of the world type of thing. Um, Brad says, "Have you ever tried Coke with cane sugar back in your day, Brian?" I'm sure I have. Because I don't know. I'm saying that because I don't know when they started using the other garbage for it. When did they use cane sugar? If it was back in the well, I wouldn't have been drinking it back in the '60s. I was pretty young. I'm sure. But '70s, early '70s. I don't think I would have been drinking Coke back in the '60s. I don't know. Um, uh, Jason says Special Bulletin is a made-for-TV movie about what would happen if terrorists steal a nuclear warhead and detonate it off the coast of North Carolina. Also free on YouTube. Ah, okay. Couple of YouTube movies there. If you guys want to check those out. Thanks, Jason. PPR says Colossus, the Forbidden Project was a great movie book about a computer that takes over the world and uses the threat of atomic war to control man. About a computer. Ah, the old AI thing, huh? Like the Terminator. Brian Bonus says, Brian, did they update the Stan miniseries? But the original Stan miniseries was better. At least I think so. LOL. They did. He's saying it, not asking. Okay, they did update the Stan miniseries. I thought so. Jason says, rest in peace to the immortal Hulk Hogan. Yeah, that's something. It's like scrolling on social media. Boom! What? Hulk Hogan. There goes. I'll be honest. Like my time of watching professional wrestling, and this really says something here. When I would see Hulk Hogan was a bad guy. He was a heel, and he was hated. He was always on the 10 most hated list in the wrestling magazines. And as along with one of my favorite wrestlers, the Masked Superstar, he was always Bill Eadie. But I mean, he was always on that list. So diabolical. But yeah, Hulk Hogan. I stopped watching wrestling regularly when they started with the Hulk Hogan thing with rock and wrestling and collaborating with like the music artist Cyndi Lauper and all that stuff in the cartoon. Now, business wise, that was very smart. Business wise, it certainly didn't hurt the business. It just at that time, I was of the age to where it was hard for me to, want to watch a cartoon about Hulk Hogan and the zany adventures of Andre and Roddy Piper. But I see business-wise why they did it. Not everybody likes that really old school stuff where the smoke-filled auditoriums. Of the 70s and the 60s, watching that stuff. So, but I watched it before he became, before the first WrestleMania. That's when I watched professional wrestling. So, a while ago. Bonin says, I love that Dr. Pepper and the root beer with pure cane sugar. Oh man, they're awesome. Is that right? I didn't know that. I don't know my sodas. So I don't know. I mean, I'm aware that they make this thing called Dr. Pepper and root beer. Yes, of course, but I didn't know that. Well, that's probably how it should be. I don't like the idea of putting that other garbage in there. Squigum says immortal. Oh, The immortal Hulk Hogan. Yes. Hmm. Was he? Yeah. Yeah, that's too bad. Rest in peace, Hulk Hogan, Brad says. Yes. Bonin says, hey, hello, Raymond. AISBC PBR Street Gang. Brad says, you said you watched the first WrestleMania on Peacock, Brian. What did you think? No, I didn't. I didn't. What I did was I have a documentary about WrestleMania that includes obviously highlights of the first one, but um, it was pretty interesting. The chance Vince McMahon. A lot of people don't like Vince. I thought business wise, man, the guy was very very shrewd, and the gamble he took to actually do this first WrestleMania, and then look at how it's paid off. I mean, he's selling out these stadiums at every one of these. It's so huge. It's so big. I'm from an audience from long ago, who I'm not saying one's right or wrong. I'm not saying one's better than the other. To me, though, the old school stuff is better for me because that's what I grew up with. That's what I grew up and loved. But obviously I'm in the minority here because, people love professional wrestling to now and today. So, to me, I kind of equate it to a physical Vegas show or something. Again, it's just me. I like the old school stuff. It was just to me that was fun because there was still a mystery there about it. There was still a mystery. Not everything was as when they got the camera and they're doing their skits and stuff like that. It was it's obviously a skit but back in the day, you were still kind of like, you're like, I think that's fake, but is that? Oh, I don't think that was supposed to. There was still a lot of that going on in your head. You thought it might be, but nobody came out and said that officially. So that they could put the word entertainment in there instead of wrestling, or the. I don't know. That's my preference. My preference. Stephanie says, I remember Hulk Hogan on Walker, Texas Ranger, and Thunder in Paradise. Oh, he was on Walker, Texas Ranger, huh? Bonin says, Hulk Hogan wasn't a very good person, but I am sorry to hear that he died, even if somebody's a real dirtbag. Oh, yeah? I don't know the man personally, but he was quite an entertainer. I mean, he really made. I mean, he was the icon of that whole business. I mean, he really did make that, and people can, you know. I know. Of course, I had Dark Horse Championship Wrestling, and I follow a lot of people's accounts that I'm still friends with, and they post. A lot of them go one way about Hulk Hogan, a lot of them go the other. Um, Whether you like him or hate him, I mean, the man was incredible for that business. So there's absolutely no denying that he put that business over the top. Could they? I mean, he was quite the showman. He really was, and he did that. Vince could tell somebody to do that, but nobody had that like he did. Whether he could wrestle in real life or not, you know, a lot of people have their criticisms of his skill or lack thereof. But man, he was a showman, and that's look at the origins of professional wrestling and where that originated from. The old, you know, the old carnies and the old carnivals and stuff. It was a show. D says, my guess is Coca-Cola will do a limited edition or throwback Coke line like Pepsi did in 2009 and then permanently in 2014. Not all projects or products will be shifted to cane sugar only selected products. Oh, is that right? Okay. PBR says, do you remember the Von Erichs in wrestling? Heck yeah, I do. I used to watch them all the time. Yeah, yeah. Let's see. I was saying hello to Al Verment, Brian, not saying AI. Okay. I'm tired. I probably read that wrong, Bonet. But thank you for clarifying that. Jason says, one last nuclear war recommend. World War III, a documentary, is a mockumentary, but also free on YouTube. Very good. Filmed in 1990, I think, and uses a lot of footage of Bush and the others. Oh, yeah. One last nuclear war. Recommend. World War III, a documentary. All right. Jason says. Wrestling sure had a dark underbelly, PBR says. Yes, they did. How in the world did I get this far behind? In comments. Let me try to get caught up here. Wasn't Hogan in the first Rocky movie, PBR says? He was in the third one with Mr. T. And Hulk Hogan and Mr. T were in the WrestleMania against Roddy Piper and Paul Orndorff. Let's see. Squiggums, the mid-70s to early 80s was our wrestling era. Not better, not worse, just when we watched. Yes. That's what I'm saying. Like it's what you grow up loving, you know. And that's what you know, we, as my cousin Sean, but I mean we grew up watching that. I mean, that was such a big deal, watching wrestling, and that's why, you know, that's the version that I love, and it's better for me, but not better perhaps to most of you. Brad says, but you still have to give Hulk Hogan and Vince McMahon credit for what they did to wrestling. Oh, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. How about the hottest horror movies of the 80s? What, for next week? Yeah, that's fine. Let me write that down. I wonder if I can just copy and paste that so I don't forget. Sometimes I forget what our topics are. Let me see. Topic for next week. Boom. All right. Hottest horror movies of the 80s. The Squigum says Thunderlips. That's right. I wonder if you know, what was it? Wasn't it Luscious Thunderlips or something like that? Was his? And I wondered if that's where Aaron got, you know, Luscious Rocky Reynolds. I just, yeah, just wonder. How about that? Okay. Brad says, before Hulk Hogan, there was Bruno Sammartino. They said he was amazing to watch. Yes. Bonus says, Hogan was a racist and he didn't like to put over other wrestlers. Just watch all the documentaries about him. I'll give him credit for making wrestling popular, but that's about it. To each his own. Obviously, everyone can formulate and hold on to their own opinions, obviously. But I thought he was very entertaining. SBC says, did the Hulk ever make a horror movie? I don't know. Nothing that I'm aware of. I think he was in some comedies or something, but I think he was in Rocky. Yeah. Let's see. Dominic Johnson says, hey Dominic, thanks for joining us. Hey Brian, did you ever see Hogan at the Phillies Spectrum? I have not. I've never actually seen Hulk Hogan. I've seen a slew, actually Squiggums on here, and we used to go to the Columbus Center, Columbus, Ohio, and they would come up from the Georgia Championship Wrestling. You know, like most of the time it was Gordon Soley would be saying, "Well, we'll find out this, you know, in the Omni, you know, Saturday night." But a lot of times those shows came up to the events were in at the Columbus Center in Columbus, Ohio. And that's where we used to go to watch them live. You know, all the Dusty Rhodes, Masked Superstar, Andre the Giant, you know, just all kinds of good memories. John says, the air raid siren sounded letting you know that it's all clear and that you have ducked and covered with ChillerNight Live with Bryan Hogue. This is Crozak the Grand reminding you that now there's only 94 days left till Halloween. Until next week, stay chilled and keep thrilled. Oh, thank you, John. D says, Hulk Hogan was a trailblazer in the wrestling universe. Terry Bolla was a... a little emoji there. I will miss Hulk Hogan. Terry Bolla. Not so much. All right. Like I said, everyone's got an opinion. Hogan had a cameo on Gremlins 2, Stephanie says. I remember seeing Gremlins 2 in the theater. That's it. And I don't remember that. Now you're in my era, Brad. Brian says, I also like Ivan Putski. Yeah. Ivan Putski, who was my neighbor down here in Texas when I lived in Austin. That's really cool. Brad says, and there's still Ric Flair. Woo! Yes. It's 9:02, but I'm gonna finish out these comments here. Let's see. I'll skip over a few, but D says, Bonehead, I love WWF wrestling. Went to a couple live WrestleMania events. The 80s. Yeah. Stephanie says, take care, y'all. See you next week. All right, Stephanie, thanks for joining us. Bonehead says, well, another week is gone. Thank you all so much for another great show. Thanks for joining us. SBC says, wait a minute, no one has mentioned Manos today. Oh, well, you just did, SBC. That's right, where's Paul at? PBR says, was Buckaroo Banzai after an atomic war? That's a good question. I couldn't tell you. That was so long ago. Let's see. You just did SBZ, yeah. To quote the immortal Dave Allen, good night, thank you, and may your God go with you. Until next week, see you and be safe. Thank you, Bonehead. Let's see. Night, y'all. Good night, D. Good night, Brad. You Hulk maniacs. All right, so SBC said, I once spent 5 holes Hogan at the Oktoberfest Fest, and it wasn't the beer, I think. All right, so fun episode. So thank you, everybody, for joining me and each other for another night of ChillerNight Live. So have a good night. Have a good ChillerNight, and we'll see you next week.